Infamous serial killer John Wayne Gacy is the subject of a new movie. That was a small clip from the trailer you just saw there. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in U.S. history, murdering at least 33 young men and boys. Gacy committed these murders in his Chicago area home, luring victims with the promise of construction work or under the pretext of demonstrating magic tricks. He then sexually assaulted and tortured them before killing them, burying most of them in the crawl space of his house or on his property. Known as the Killer Clown for his public performances as a clown, he was arrested in 1979 and was convicted of 33 murders the following year. Gacy was executed in 1994. And now, 30 years after Gacy's execution, the attorney who represented him is taking a look back on her countless hours of detailed conversations in a new book titled Killing Time with John Wayne Gacy. She talks about her efforts to try to get him off death row and whether there are more victims. Here now, the author of that book who represented John Wayne Gacy, Conti. Karen, thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening, Natasha.
First of all, Karen, I think a lot of people must wonder, how did you do it? Knowing the horrifying things that this man did, why spend so many years fighting for him, spending countless hours gaining his trust in conversation? A lot of people consider this man close to evil. Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree that what John Wayne Gacy did was vile and evil and awful. And if there's anyone who deserves the death penalty, it would be someone like John Gacy. I don't believe in the death penalty. I never did, and I never will. And I took on this representation not to get him out of prison, but just to save his life. And listen, when you make these arguments against the death penalty, you're not just advocating for your client. You're advocating for the other people on death row who may be next, who may have actual innocence arguments, racist arguments, and arguments of poor counsel. So I was really standing up for the cause in addition to standing up for Gacy himself.
How did it feel to sit across from him? I mean, did it feel like you were looking into the face of pure evil, all these hours of conversations you logged with him?
Absolutely, positively not. Sitting with John Gacy was like sitting with your favorite uncle or a bus driver or somebody who you knew and saw every day. He did not appear evil. He was glib. He was humorous. He was intelligent, and he was engaging. And that's how he got away with all these murders. Had he been evil, had he acted in a bizarre fashion, he might have been one and done. But this is how he got away with murder.
Karen, do you have reason to believe that there were other victims of Gacy beyond the 33 young men and boys?
I absolutely do. I'd be shocked if there weren't. And Gacy was in construction, as you said, and he traveled extensively to rural areas all across the country. I saw his business records, and there's no question that he would have had better opportunities to abduct young boys in these areas where he wasn't known and that had fewer populations. So I absolutely believe that, and we may never know because didn't have a system back then to connect missing boys and bodies that were found.
Did you ever ask him? Did he ever say anything that gave you a reason to believe that?
Not really. He was in denial. He was a liar. He was a manipulator. He initially confessed to the crimes to another lawyer, but then he said he didn't do it. So you really couldn't believe anything he said. You just had to listen between the lines, and sometimes you could come up with some idea that what he was saying was actually the truth. But other than that, he never actually said that.
Okay, I appreciate that. If investigators were wondering where they should look for any additional victims, where would you point them to?
Well, his business records spell out very clearly, kept meticulous records, and they were up in the Pacific Northwest. There were some in Florida. There were jobs up in Wisconsin. So my guess would be that would be the way to trace it. But again, we didn't have a way of tracking missing boys and bodies being found. So it would take a lot of sleuthing to go back all these years and try to connect the dots.
Okay. Author of Killing Time with John Wayne Gacy, Karen Conti, we appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.